Tonight, beautiful socialite Veda Holt Cohen is launching her eagerly awaited autobiography, Veda's Naked Truth. Veda's led a fascinating life. She's been married 3 times, once to a rabbi, and she's had 5 children, one of whom was kidnapped. She endured years of sexual exploitation and male dominance, but eventually she managed to break free from her housewife's chains to find her true self, a strong, independent and creative woman. Veda's Naked Truth is her story. Let's meet Veda. Veda, what or who motivated you to write your autobiography?
It was my late mother. She knew all the problems I had in my life, and she said, you know, your life would make a fantastic book. And so that's what I did. I wrote a book, and she often mentions that I sailed very closely to the wind. I was always getting myself into a few ups and downs.
Scrapes.
And yes, and she said to me, definitely you could make a book on this. And that's what I did just before she died. I started, you know.
I'm sure she would have been very proud.
I'm sure she would.
Now, do you think that other women in similar positions will be inspired by your story?
I think so. I think there are a lot of ladies out there who can relate, you know, probably almost being in the same position. And like I said, perhaps they are more ruled maybe by their husbands and staying more at home, doing the general housework, and perhaps they've got a chance to get out in there and do something. So I can relate to that, and I think they will too.
Good, that's great. Do all your family support you writing the book and including them in it?
Yes, they've been very good about it, but most definitely my eldest son. He's really, really been supportive, you know, 100%, who will be coming down hopefully tonight.
Oh, good, we'll meet him. Did you find it a cathartic experience?
Yes, I did. I found it very therapeutic. It got quite emotional at some stages, especially when you're putting pen to paper. It brings back a lot of memories, and I really think it's a fantastic way of, you know, getting it off your chest, yes.
When you've done it, yeah. And who thought of the clever double entendre title, Veda's Naked Truth? Was that you?
Yes, I did. I came up with it a couple of years ago, and being my second name, Veda, I thought it just seemed to fit.
Well, I think it's a great title. And what do you actually mean by your naked truth?
Well, it's a very honest autobiography, the bare truth. It's, you know, completely honest.
And who designed the fabulous eye-catching cover that we saw upstairs?
That's Mr. Stephen Upton, who's a very good friend of mine, a school friend from many years ago.
Your designer, so we'll meet him later.
Most definitely.
Now you've written 1 book, have you got the writing bug? Do you think you'd like to write more?
I'd love to, and I'm actually in the process of doing number 2.
Steve, you're the editor and designer of Veda's Naked Truth. Were you immediately drawn to this fabulous story?
I was drawn to it. When Veda told me about her book, it had very intriguing parts. It had parts that were sad, parts that were exhilarating. And I think the book is very good.
Absolutely excellent. And which do you think were the most interesting bits, Steve?
I think every chapter has its own merit of scintillating bits, passionate bits, sad bits. But I think for me personally, chapter 1 and chapter 12, being a school friend of Julie from years ago and meeting her 39 years later to help her do the book.
Wow, that's amazing. So you're actually in it. And of course, I think that you actually helped with the title. She wrote the title, didn't she? But you came up with the subtitle?
Yeah, that was Sand Grains of Time. Each experience that she shares in her book is a sand grain.
That's very clever. And you designed the fabulous cover that we saw upstairs, didn't you?
Yeah, that took about 174 tries until the middle of the last chapter.
Well, you did a great job on that. And I think you also designed this fabulous biopic, didn't you? Tell us about this.
Right, this is just a taster for people before the signing, which will be due in about 4 or 5 weeks.
So, Robin, you're known for your bonkbuster thrillers, and you always have fantastic titles. What do you think of this title, Veda's Naked Truth?
Well, having seen Veda, I couldn't think of anything better. And I mean, I haven't looked into the book yet. I'm about to, and I'll be able to see if it's true, and I'm sure it is. I mean, it's a very tantalizing cover.
And I think you've also just done verses.
Verses I've done, which you came to the book signing. I dedicated that to Helen Steele, an artist friend of mine. But the new one out for Christmas, is La-di-da-di-bloody-da. And that is dedicated to Ivana Trump.
Billy, you're the picture editor of the Daily Star. What do you think of Veda's fabulous picture here?
That's a fabulous picture, absolutely great. I think it's certainly going to draw people in.
So do you think it would make you read the autobiography?
Definitely, yeah. I think it's got a lot of attraction about the picture.
Great. Well, I hope you enjoy the book. Now tell us, what's happening at the Daily Star at the moment?
Lots of things, lots of gossip to put in the newspapers. Things are going very well. Very well.
Antonia, you're Veda's house photographer tonight. What do you think of this fantastic cover shot?
I think she's absolutely beautiful, wonderful, strong, powerful, very inner spirit, and it speaks volume.
Are you going to write your autobiography one day?
I've always wanted to write my autobiography. I've got a lot to tell, and I've got to be very careful how I tell it.
You know, it is truly amazing. And I hope everyone reads it, you know. They all read this book. It's fantastic.
You're so kind. I'm sure she'll enjoy that. But maybe you'll write yours in the future. Now, Tricia, you're arguably the most famous, I think, divorcee in the world at the moment. What do you think about Veda writing about her marriages and things in Veda's Naked Truth?
I think it's totally fabulous.
So, have you ever thought about doing your own autobiography?
Yeah, I thought about it, and I actually started to write it last year, but it was just too painful. It was just... So I started writing, I've written the musical of my divorce, and it's called Arm Candy.
Lee, what do you think about this fabulous new book, Veda's Naked Truth?
Well, Veda's definitely got a lot of truth and a lot of nakedness. She's exposing everything, I think. Her life, definitely. I mean, you know, she's been through the husbands, she's been through the synagogues, and I think that life has definitely... She's been around the world, I.
She has, and it's a great story, isn't it?
Exactly. I think it could be a good film, too. Everybody, keep learning, keep educating yourself. That keeps the youth within inside yourself and within inside your soul.
And, of course, if you keep learning, you have to keep reading as well to study, don't you?
Exactly. So Veda's book comes into it, and I'm sure it's going to be a million seller.
She is absolutely amazing person, and the things inside, it just totally fascinates me, and it's so something that you must read about it.
And have you thought about writing your own autobiography at all?
Oh, maybe one day? Yes, I think so, because that's something that, for me, I always like to do. Maybe I get a ghostwriter, that's what I mean for me.
Cindy, you've written your own autobiography, Living Doll, haven't you? Did you find it a very cathartic experience like Veda?
I did, because you sit down and you put your whole life in perspective. You remember things from your childhood, and then you see a progression of events that brings you to where you are now. And I think more people should do it, even just for their own families, to pass down to their children, their grandchildren. Writing your autobiography these days is easy with the computer, and if you've got a great story to tell, or even if you think it's boring, you would be surprised how many people find it fascinating. But first of all, you will find it fascinating yourself, how you got to where you are today.
Brian, you're a very old friend of Julie's, a.k.a. Veda. You must be very proud of her writing this book.
Extremely proud, extremely proud. I think it takes a lot to be able to share your innermost thoughts and experiences with strangers, basically. Do you know what I mean? I've always wanted to write a book myself, but I know it takes a lot of planning, a lot of dedication, but she's that sort of spirit. She always sees things through to the end.
And she's a strong girl.
Yeah, and I wish her the best of luck with it, definitely. I should be buying some copies this evening, ladies and gentlemen.